Friday, March 2nd. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we head out to the Cotuit Library to find out what they have going on this spring. Then we'll talk with Assistant Recreation Director John Gleason and Natural Resource Officer Devin Harrington. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The search has begun for a new chief of police. The position is part of civil service, and the town manager has made the determination to proceed with an internal search. MMA Consulting was hired to ensure the civil service components of the search are followed and will ultimately provide 3 names as finalists for the position. The Barnstable Police Department is an integral part of our community. Therefore, the town would like to hear the community's thoughts on issues facing the town and qualities and characteristics of the person selected to lead our police department. Town Manager Mark Ells will be providing some opportunities for community input via meetings in the near future. In the meantime, please visit the town website at townofbarnstable.us to complete a survey and have your voice be heard. Deadline for survey responses is Friday, March 9th. The Barnstable Youth Commission will again be hosting their Community Prevention Forum and 7th Grade Youth Summit. The Community Prevention Forum will be held on Thursday, March 15th at Cape Cod Community College in the Tilden Arts Center. The public is welcome to attend for a presentation and open discussion with a panel of Barnstable police officers to discuss, demonstrate, and share views on how we can work together to keep our community safe. The 7th Grade Youth Summit will take place the next day, also at Cape Cod Community College, with Dynamic Influence and Kevin Rosario presenting, along with BHS Peer Leadership. There will also be presentations by many clubs, sports, and activities that will be available to 7th graders entering the high school in the fall. Coming up, our recent visit to the Cotuit Library. Antonia, thank you so much for letting us come out and join you here at the Cotuit Library.
Absolutely.
So much to talk about. The Cotuit Library is, one of the 7 village libraries, and I find them all to be very unique. What are some of the, most unique things that you think about Cotuit Library?
Well, one of the things that we do specialize in is tech help. So if you have computer issues or if you have issues with your mobile device, your tablet, you can set up an appointment here with our Programming Technology and Outreach Coordinator, Gus Aslanian, and he will give you half-hour sessions and you're allowed to come back. Plus, we also do an outreach program at the Barnstable Senior Center on Tuesdays at 1:30 during most of the year. We don't do it in the summer. And we offer classes on how to use Google Mail or Facebook for seniors. We will do individual tech help, 15-minute appointments for people to come in. So that way, people who can come to us easily, we can do it here. And if you can't make it to Cotuit, you have another opportunity at the Senior Center. And one of the things that we've been talking about with the director at the Senior Center is offering occasional evening versions of that class, because there are some people who can't make it during the day. So we're trying to make it more accessible for more people.
That's wonderful. I love that you partner with the Senior Center to offer that. I know as someone who has parents that are slightly technologically, not as advanced as some, I often get phone calls. How do I do this? How do I do that? So what a great tool here at the Cotuit Library, as well as being able to go to the Senior Center, be able to help them.
Yeah, and I always tell them, you don't have to remember everything that we've told you. Mm-hmm. Here's the card, you call us, here are the notes that we went over. And then I always say to them, I can teach anybody except for my mother. And maybe Gus feels the same way, but I'm not sure. You have to ask him.
Right. Along with that kind of technology, you also have been doing, which I think is great, over February vacation, you had coding camps, and you're going to be doing that again in April, as well as in the summertime, which I think is amazing, because it's such a huge thing now.
So this is our attempt to introduce technology or computational thinking to the much younger groups. So we even had kids as young as 4 last summer when we did it.
Wow.
And instead of having them in front of a computer doing, a lot of them are already familiar with Minecraft and things like that, but they don't really understand what it is that they're doing with that. So we introduce concepts like an algorithm, a program, a function, using analog means. So they do sort of arts and crafts things with beads. They get a chance to do things. We have a little wooden robot called Cubetto that we can code with. They get to pretend that they're robots themselves, and they have to come up with the instructions and have another one of their classmates come in and be the robot and try and build a cup structure, for example. So they're getting these this vocabulary and these concepts brought to them in a really hands-on way that doesn't actually have anything to do with the computer.
Yeah.
And this particular week that we just did, we've had 7 young boys joining it, and they've been having a great time, and I'm exhausted.
I'm sure. But that's so great. It's a new way to think about it. It's like, because like you said, they're used to those electronics, using the computer, using an iPad, using a tablet, or what have you. But doing it in a more practical sense, and using that, critical thinking about how this all works. I think that's important.
Yeah, and it's a form of literacy. So we do as much as we can to improve and introduce literacy. Obviously, reading is the standard, but
right.
Digital literacy is important, and it's important not just to be able to use machines and computers, but to also understand the language. So
that's great. Another thing that you do here at Cotuit Library, which I absolutely love, is you do a lot of stargazing events. And not just stargazing events, you also have telescopes that you have available for people to check out. So if you're interested in the stars and what's up there, this is the library for you.
Absolutely. We get the Kettleers are very kind in allowing us to come out to Lowell Park when nothing's going on there, from April through October, and we go out once a month and bring our giant telescope, and we often have a person helping us. Jim and Mike are people that help us, and they will bring their telescopes as well, and people get a chance to see the moon. It's amazing what the moon looks like through a telescope, and Saturn and the Jupiter, because you can see 4 of the moons of Jupiter, and people are so awed by that. And it's just a nice night out. Now, unfortunately, last fall, the last 3 months, the weather did not cooperate.
No, it didn't.
But, it's a good way if you decide to come out, take a look at it, and then if you want to borrow the telescope yourself, to come on out.
Yeah, I think it's really something. It's to see those celestial objects through a telescope is so different than seeing, a picture of it.
Exactly.
Because it's like you're actually looking at it.
I know.
It's not just a picture that somebody took God knows when. You're looking through the eye hole, and there it is. It's amazing.
The best one is Saturn. Oh my gosh, it really does have rings.
Right. Just so amazing. So it's so wonderful that you do that. Talking about literacy, this is a library, so there's, it is books and reading and things like that. You do story hours, as well as your children's librarian does a lot too.
Yeah, so she has 2 story hours that she does in the library, so Tuesday mornings and Wednesday afternoons. And then she goes out once a month to different preschools and also to Angel House and does literacy programs there. So we do a bit of outreach, because a lot of children these days are not at home. They are in preschool because their parents are both working. So this is a way for us to sort of remind parents, or remind the people that the library is around, and give them a positive library experience, even if they can't always make it to us like they might have. But we also do have homeschooling parents that bring their kids in for the story hours that are here too.
Oh, that's great.
So it's a good mix, and we can adapt things if somebody has a theme that they're working on that week. We could do story hours that have something to do with that, and they're always followed by a craft as well. So
who doesn't love crafts?
And then this summer reading will be coming up sooner than you can believe. And so there'll be a lot. And this year's theme is about music, so there should be some good programs.
That's really fun. I love the summer program, and all the libraries kind of follow the same tone and the same theme. So that's really exciting to hear about. Adult library things like book clubs.
Yes, we have 4 book clubs.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know, so it's a busy place.
It is.
We have an adult sketching group that comes in. And they sometimes sketch the mother of the children's librarian, which is really great. They sit in here and they do that. We have people that come and play bridge and teach others to play bridge. We've had the Mahjong group, and it's a teaching group, not just a playing group, so new people can come and learn about it.
Nice.
We have groups that meet monthly, like the Brain Injury Support Group of Massachusetts meets here monthly basis. So there's all kinds of things like that too. And the Historical Society does their Cotuit Chronicles here. So there's always stuff going on. And I just did want to add that a lot of the little programs that we've been doing, like the Coding Camp and the Royston Nash Music Appreciation Series that we've been doing, those have been supported by grants. So we've had great input from the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, for the coding, and then the Arts Foundation of Cape Cod and the Mid-Cape Cultural Council and the Town of Barnstable's Kirkman Fund have been very supportive for some of that programming, this music programming in particular. So
that's wonderful. I think that's great that you had that Royston Nash music program. It was a different, different kind of thing to have at a library, but I mean, libraries aren't just books anymore.
Absolutely not.
That's definitely something you want people to know.
One of our currencies is programs. We put on programs as well as provide reading material and audiovisual material, and of course, 24/7 Wi-Fi.
That's funny. You can come sit out on the step at 2 o'clock in the morning and use the Wi-Fi,
and,
no problem.
We really want to try and make that space a little bit more comfortable, so that when people come and sit in the summer, we're going to try and get something where there's a little bit more comfortable chairs and maybe a work table.
Oh, nice.
Because people do. They come and they sit out there and use the Wi-Fi. So
yeah. You're right next to the lovely park next door.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Kituitt Library is kind of in an ideal spot. You can walk to the beach, you can use the park, you can come to the library.
Play on the playground. The church helps us. They let us use their electricity when we do our outdoor movie.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
it's a really community-based library, which I absolutely love. Antonia, thank you so much for letting us come out here and learn all about the Kituitt Library.
Anytime.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.
My guest today is Antonia Stevens. She's the library director here at the Kituitt Library. Coming up, we talk with Natural Resource Officer Devin Harrington, but first, Assistant Recreation Director John Gleason. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me again.
We're going to talk about a couple of different things. The first thing we're going to talk about is summer job postings. The summer jobs were posted earlier this week, and there's a lot of positions available in the Recreation Division.
Absolutely. So yes, March 1st is always the day that our summer positions get posted, and the Town of Barnstable has a new applicant online tracking software system that we're using, and so all our jobs now are posted online, and we have a ton of them. If they're through our summer leisure program, our aquatics division, the HYCC, anything that we have available is now posted online. So if you are looking for a job for yourself or for a grandchild or a son or daughter, as long as they're 14 and above, we have positions open for the summer.
That's wonderful. And everyone who, even if you've held a position previously, you have to apply every year.
Correct.
So if you were a lifeguard last year or a beach aide last year or a gate attendant, you'll still need to apply.
Yeah, it's required that all our staff reapply and fill out the current and proper paperwork. And the online system is going to be great for us to kind of track the process that they go through. Sometimes in the past we've mailed it out to them, or most recently we created a PDF of the application and all the necessary paperwork that goes with it. And when you send it to them, you have no idea of what they're doing and if it's just sitting at home or lost in a pile or at their college dorm room and singing all their paperwork that they have due. So this now is online. It's easy. I went through it today with a person reapplying for something, so I went through the application process with him. It was fairly easy. It's a really good customer service tool for us. I know sometimes we don't see our employees as customers, but they are. We have to take care of them like we would anyone else. Mm-hmm. We need to make things easy and convenient for them as far as paperwork and getting all that stuff in. So we try to treat them like our customers and making sure that things are accessible to them and it's easy and the process is smooth. And with this new system, we believe it will be. So we're really looking forward to using it this spring for the first time.
Wonderful. I know something that I've talked with Patty about in the past, and also Tim McGrath, is that the need for lifeguards. I assume that we're going to still have the need for lifeguards this year.
Absolutely, we always do.
So what are some of the requirements that people need? So in case there's someone out there that might be watching and maybe they have some of the they meet some of the requirements, or maybe they know someone that does for a lifeguard, because I know that's such an important position.
So always the basic thing, and it's going to sound funny, but they have to be able to swim.
Right.
So that's one of the big things. They don't have to be the fastest swimmer or even be on the high school swim team. They just need to be adequate, good swimmers. So, we have tools at the beach, rescue tubes and surfboards that can, propel people out to a victim, fairly quickly. So swimming is really important, and then some of the things are age requirements.
Right.
We have certain age requirements. They have to be at least 16 years old or have 1 year of experience. So there's certain things, but everything's posted online. All information of what you need to have. All our tryout date information is on there, and what's required at our tryouts. This spring we are offering 2 lifeguarding classes, one during the course of late March throughout the spring, and then one during April school vacation. And we're already starting to see through our spring registrations, people are signing up for some of those programs.
Wonderful. That was going to be my next question, if you were going to be offering that opportunity for people to get certified as a lifeguard.
Yeah, we always need to try to do the best we can and provide as many opportunities for people to sign up to become lifeguards. We are so dependent on them in the summertime at all the locations. I mean, I think by far we're one of the biggest aquatics, operations in the state. I mean, we hire, over 100 lifeguards. There's some towns throughout the state that only need to hire 3 or 4 lifeguards, and they struggle to find 3 or 4 in their communities. So for us to need, 100 or more, we need to do everything possible to recruit, properly train, whatever we can do, we need to do as much as possible.
Right. So other than summer jobs, we also had spring registration open this week. How has that been going?
It's good. So far, so good. It's registration just occurred right after the school vacation, and people aren't maybe necessarily thinking about spring, but we've communicated through Facebook and Twitter and our email process that we have registration. We have a couple of programs that are already full, so that's a good sign. But still, people are kind of in that winter mode of not thinking about going outside, but we've kind of had a, knock on some wood, a pretty mild winter.
Right.
But people need to start thinking about spring and the activities that they want their children to do. Because we have a lot to offer this spring, and we'd love to have them register for stuff.
Wonderful. When do spring programs begin?
It varies. So some things will start later on in the month of March, and some things won't start until the beginning of May.
Okay.
It's all depending on the program, and then some are weather related type items. In the past we used to do like a spring lacrosse program that would start beginning of April or mid-April, and then we would always run into a ton of rain, and then we're starting up teaching basic skills, and then we run into April school vacation.
Right.
So we have a little bit of that where we try to start some things as early as possible. Like for example, like our spring sports program doesn't really start until the beginning of May, because we have a good solid 6 to 8 weeks before the end of school to get those sort of things in, and then the weather seems to be a little nicer for us to go outside and do things. But it varies from the middle to end of March, all the way through beginning of May when things will actually get going. But all the information is our spring brochure, and the dates and times and locations and prices and everything's in there. So if people have any questions, they could find that at the HYCC. They could find it online. We've also sent it out to all our contacts through email, and they can always call us. We always like to hear from people. So if they have any questions or not sure about something, they can certainly call into our department and ask us questions.
Wonderful. One last thing before I let you go: the middle school after-school program. Have to sign up for this. Is going to be the 3rd session, correct?
Yes. So now we're into the 3rd and final session of the year, and the program has been going phenomenal. We are just so pleased at the amount of kids that have signed up in the fall and winter. They're having a great time. And I think I've said in the past, it's some of the kids that we traditionally do not get in our programs. We probably get about 20 to 25% of the kids are kids that are in our volleyball programs, basketball programs, or lacrosse or whatnot that are still doing this after school program. But we're reaching a whole nother group of kids that weren't really partaking in our activities, and now they are, and now we're getting to know them and figuring out what they like to do, and we're doing all different things at the youth center after school, and And then we have the free snack for them after school, and then the games and homework help if they want that. So there's just a lot of great things going on in that program. We're really excited about that.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that it's going so well, because I know it's a new program. You never know how it's going to go, so it's great to hear that it's going well.
Yeah, I mean, right when we went into it this fall, we were hoping for at least, maybe 24 kids, but then it filled up with the max of 48. And I think we even took more than that because we found out with other activities going on, we weren't getting 100% attendance every day, so we added a couple more kids to make sure that every time that bus was coming over the youth center, it was, pretty full. Same thing this winter, we have taken more kids than we expected, because we still have, a bunch of kids that are still partaking in our after-school basketball program and stuff like that. So, they're doing that 2 days a week, and then they're doing the HUACC after-school program 3 days a week. So we're able to take a little more kids than we thought we could. So it's been wonderful, and we communicate well with the school. So if we hear from the school that there's a certain individual that would like to get into it, they send us an email saying, hey, do you have room? We'd like to add in so-and-so, and we're always communicating with them to let them know what kind of space we have available and everything going on. So it's a great relationship between the school and the building, so it's been great.
Wonderful. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much.
My guest today is John Gleason. He's the Assistant Recreation Director here in the town of Barnstable. Devin, thank you so much for joining us today. This is your first time here in the studio. We have talked to you on the phone before, but we're going to talk about all sorts of different things having to do with shellfishing. The first thing we're going to talk about is East Bay. What can you tell me about East Bay?
So East Bay is an area down in Osterville, which is now open to shellfishing just for the winter months. And this is really cool because this is the first time East Bay has been open in over 20 years.
Wow.
So what that means is the state does water testing at least 5 times a year, and they've been able to collect enough clean water samples to have it open for shellfish, which is really cool. So we'll have, signs down there and maps at our office, and you can always go online and look at the maps there to make sure you're in the right area.
What kind of shellfish can you find in East Bay?
I would say there's mostly quahogs and probably some steamers, off like the backside of Dowses Beach. But you definitely want to pay attention to the signs and the maps, because there are random pockets of closure areas.
Okay. Was this a concerted effort to get East Bay to a point where it could be opened?
I was thinking about that. I'm not sure if much has changed, but the water quality data shows that something has changed. So it is, a clean water body for shellfish just in the winter months, though. I want to emphasize that East Bay is very similar to North Bay, that it's closed May through November.
Right. Excellent. So it's nice to know that there's a good spot. When did that open back up?
East Bay opened up a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago.
So it'll be open until what, April or
May,
so?
probably,
May.
yes.
Okay, great. So if people are looking for quahogs and things like that, that's a good, might be a good spot.
We've had commercial guys out there too, digging
nice.
quahogs, which has been nice to see.
Yeah, great. So that's probably a good sign that there's, plenty over there if the commercial guys are over there.
Yes, absolutely.
I know big season here in the town of Barnstable. Everyone goes crazy. It's oyster season, and it's starting to wind down. The last day for oysters is going to be March 7th.
Yes.
So it's we've got about 2 weeks left. Would you say that the season's gone well? Is there a pretty good stock still out there that if people are looking to get out there, they can?
Yeah, I had probably like 50-ish people down there yesterday at Scudder.
Oh, well,
so that's a lot of people.
Out.
It was a really nice day. It's family vacation week. But yes, oysters will close March 7th. That's a Wednesday. So if people want to get oysters up until March 7th, something really important to know is that the permits will expire on March 1st. So we are selling permits now. You can come in and get a new shellfishing permit. So you can get the resident is $40, non-resident is $140. We have a senior permit for $30, and then you can get a seasonal permit, which is good June through August, and that is $70.
Wonderful. And the seasonal permits is kind of for maybe people that are here just for the summer,
Exactly.
non-residents.
Yes. But if you like oysters, then you want to get your, resident, non-resident to be able to use it in March.
Right, for this last week and a half or so.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff still at Scudder, kind of closer to the Harris Meadow side. And then also Bay Street down in Osterville is a really good location in North Bay.
I've never been out to Bay Street. What is it like? Because I've only been down in Scudder for oysters. What is Bay Street like?
Bay Street's really cool. It's very different from Barnstable Harbor, but it's nice that you have this landing very close to all the oysters. It's a pretty accessible area. You don't have to walk too far. We have oysters, right off the landing, and then continuing kind of further down to the right. There's also really good digging of quahogs in North Bay. Most people will go get their half a peck of oysters, check in with us, and then they'll go back out and get a full peck of quahogs. Which is awesome.
Nice. How has the razor clam season been? Because I know that you're going to have some classes, but because of the weather, they got canceled. I wonder if people are still out there doing razor clams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, I would say there's more commercial people getting razor clams in Barnstable Harbor, but we definitely have some very adamant, consistent recreational shellfishers who will go out and do that salting solution down the razor clam holes. The razor clams pop out. So I checked a lot of razor clams at Scudder yesterday too, so it's good to see people doing that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that people are kind of picking up on that, and that's a new thing. What is the razor clam season like? I mean, is it just ongoing? Yeah,
there's not really a different season for oysters. It's razor clams are more like quahogs. They're open in certain areas year round. They're only in Barnstable Harbor. There's stout razor clams on the south side, but not something you see people get too often. So the razor clams are really, really good up there.
Okay, so just a reminder to everybody is that oyster season closes March 7th.
Yes.
But all shellfishing licenses, recreational shellfishing licenses expire March 1st. So you're going to need to renew that if you want to keep getting oysters through March 7th.
Yes.
And it's just a good thing to renew it anyways. It's that time of year. If you know you're going to be out there getting shellfish throughout the year, it's a good time to do it. Devin, is there anything else you want to talk about before I let you go?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
My guest today is Devin Harrington. She's the Natural Resource Officer here in the town of Barnstable. Now let's take a look at the community calendar. This weekend, if you're looking for something fun to do with the family, consider heading to the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. Public skating is available both Saturday and Sunday and is a great way to get out and stretch your legs and have some fun at the same time. If skating isn't your forte, then you can always shoot some hoops in the gym. Open gym is available also on Saturday and Sunday. Get a family pickup game going or just play horse. The HYCC is a great place to go as a family on the weekend. You can visit townofbarnstable.us/HYCC for the calendar of times available for public skating as well as open gym. Now let's take a look at next week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back on Monday with an all-new episode of Barnstable Today. On Monday's show, we'll talk with Superintendent of Schools Meg Mayo Brown, Director of Assessing Ed O'Neill, and Tammy Jacobson of Cape Cod Community College. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.